In the 50s on Thursday, mostly cloudy. Educate, entertain, and empower. We're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. France and others have expressed regret that Donald Trump's decided to formally pull out of the Paris climate change agreement. The UK's leader of the opposition's vowing to get Brexit sorted within 6 months if he becomes Prime Minister. The Conservatives say Labour offer more delay. Iran says it will start putting gas into centrifuges to enrich uranium on Wednesday. And Delhi's air quality is still at hazardous levels despite pollution dropping slightly.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday to you. I hope that you're having a great start to your day. You're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. My special guests today are from LEAP. I have Miss Kiana Gray and Miss Kayla Beeman. How are you doing today?
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. Today's an abbreviated show, so we're just going to jump right into our topic today. So we have had some members from LEAP before talking about the leaping into diabetic health, but we can never talk about diabetic health enough. So let's just go ahead and get into some. Do you have any statistics or any information you would like to share for those who may not have caught the first show?
Sure. So there are over 30 million Americans who have this disease, and it costs America $327 billion a year. So there are very much high healthcare costs that are associated with this disease.
And can you tell us the different types of diabetes? People hear diabetes, and it's such a broad term, but there are different levels to it.
I'll pass that to Kayla. So you've got type 1 diabetes, which is also referred to as juvenile diabetes. That type of diabetes is most commonly diagnosed in children. Okay. So you might notice things like increased urination or increased hunger. Those are signs that you may have type 1 diabetes. Okay. And then we have type 2 diabetes, which commonly affects adults. It's diagnosed later, and it's caused by other comorbidities such as hypertension or sometimes obesity is associated with type 2 diabetes. Okay. And then for those that have a family history of diabetes, can you give them some tips or pointers on how to, one, either manage, or I don't want to say prevent, but prevent, for lack of a better term, themselves from getting it, or like what are some things they can look out for and do to, hopefully not develop diabetes themselves? That family history is tough. It really is tough to dodge all of the causes of type 2 diabetes associated with family history, but watching dietary modifications, a leafy green diet, avoiding lots of carbs, lots of sugars, keeping that, we call it an A1C, which is an average of your blood glucose over, I think, a 90-day period. Keeping that down is going to be essential in making sure that you don't develop diabetes due to that family history.
Okay. Now, I've talked to nutritionists before, and they broke down how your body processes certain foods while you gain weight and things of that nature. Can you talk about the role of insulin? Like when we hear diabetes, we also hear the term insulin. So can you explain what insulin is and how our body uses it or makes it, or...
Sure. I'm no expert.
Okay.
My history is in trauma, so I'll do my best. But so let's say when you eat your breakfast, okay, every time you eat, your body has to produce insulin to break down what you eat. Okay. So some people have a disease of the pancreas where the pancreas doesn't create enough insulin. That's type 1 diabetes. Okay. So type 2, when your body starts to get resistant to the insulin it's already making, that is what is a precursor for that type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
So you're eating, your body's not making enough insulin to bring down your blood glucose as you eat. That is why they need that modification.
Okay. And then I know everyone has seen all the commercials, so there's all types of treatments involved, but again, they can become very costly, as you mentioned. Over what's the number?
$327 billion a year.
Billion. That's a lot. And so, you know, we've heard throughout our life that prevention is less costly than a cure. So hopefully more people are starting to pay attention to their health and starting to be a little more proactive about their health, and so that they can reduce their chances of getting diabetes or any other disease. Now, have you ever encountered any patients? I know you deal with different areas, or just through your conversation with your coworkers. Have they ever encountered any patients that, no matter what they did in their life, they just still got diabetes or some other?
I think that family history is tough. It really is tough, and I think I can give you an example. There is someone that I know that's affected by that family history, and he was modifying his diet. He's very active, but when he went to have a screening, his A1C was pre-diabetic, and he was like, "What? How am I pre-diabetic? I do all of these things. I eat well." It's that family history. So the more you modify that diet, it doesn't necessarily always prevent, but once you modify your diet, make sure you're active. Those types of things can kind of keep you away from having that type 2 diabetes, and it's not even your fault. It's genetics.
Okay. Darn genetics. I want to say good morning to a few people that are checking in. Ms. Bethany Hill, Dr. Jody Long, Mabel Prunty. She says, "Good job, beautiful ladies." And Mr. Buddy Reds Clay, thank you for checking in. All right, so, along with diabetes, we know that it affects your kidneys. And so we have heard, I've known people personally that have had to have dialysis. And so the point is, we want everyone to be more proactive about their health. And so you won't have to go down this path of all of these different treatments. We know that some people with diabetes have to take insulin shots. If you are not a fan of needles, please try to be more proactive. But so let's just go ahead and get into the event. So to help inform the community, you all are hosting this Leaping into Diabetic Health, which is a part of your Staying Alive series. So let's talk about this event, the speakers, and some of the information.
Yeah, so it's going to be a gala. So the dress is semi-formal or Sunday's best.
Okay.
So come dressed to the nines and come ready to hear education and become more aware. So that night we will have a speaker from Dr. DeVore's office, and they will give an overview of what the disease is, and then we will have a chef give a chef demonstration of a healthy food choice just for all of us, so that we can eat a little bit more healthy, and again, ways to prevent the diagnosis. And then we will have Dr. Harper, who's one of our surgeons on staff. He will give an overview of the complications of the disease, and so what can happen, the after effects if you don't manage it as you should.
All right. Now, will there be a question-answer series? Where people...
Yes. After each speaker, you will be able to ask them questions that you have. So, and then after that, we'll of course have food, and then we'll have a DJ there as well. We have DJ Nightmare who will be there, so we can hit the dance floor and dance the night away and look all fancy.
Okay, so you get some information, you get a good meal, and you get to work off that meal on the dance floor.
Yes.
So wear some comfortable shoes too.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about tickets. We didn't give the date, time, location. Sorry.
Yes, so the event is this Saturday, November the 9th at 5 p.m. at our St. Bernard's Auditorium. It starts at 5 and it'll go until 9 o'clock. Tickets are on sale now, so if you'll go onto our St. Bernard's Healthcare event page, you can go to our link online and purchase your tickets that way. It's $25 for an individual, $40 for a couple, and $150 for a table of 8.
Okay, so we need everyone in the community to come out and support this event. This is going to be there's going to be some great information given. You get to fellowship and network with other individuals in your community. You never know what kind of connections can be made.
Exactly.
I love going to these type of events because you never know who you're going to meet. You can take your business cards. Are people still giving out business cards nowadays? I know that with technology increasing. So take your business cards, pass them around to other people. You never know who you may meet and what connections you can make. And we want to see more and more of these community events. We want to see the house packed on this night. So please go out. First, get your ticket.
Yes.
Go get your nice outfit. Like she said, it's semi-formal Sunday's best. And get ready to have a good time with other people in your community, other professionals as well. If you know someone in your family who has diabetes, this will be a great time to go out. And you can see a doctor, talk to a doctor face to face, one-on-one. Well, not necessarily one-on-one, but you get to meet someone in person, and then maybe make a connection and set up an appointment later on. All right. So, what is some other information you all have to share concerning about diabetes? I have a question, but I want to make sure you all get all of your keynotes in.
Ask a question.
I think the goal of our event is to just increase awareness.
Okay.
That's what it's all about, because we know in our community there's a huge distrust of healthcare, and I think that has contributed to those statistics that Kenyatta gave when we started. That's why those numbers are so starking, because we have one issue that leads to another issue that leads to another, and then bam, you've got full-blown hypertension or you've got full-blown diabetes. And our goal is to just educate our community, create that trust amongst healthcare providers, healthcare workers, and members of the community to show them prevention is where it's at. That's the most important thing.
Okay. I remember when the last group was here, Mr. Mark was tell us about what sugar does in your bloodstream when your body hasn't processed it properly. It's like those little granules get in your bloodstream, and they can, over time, basically damage your vessels, as with anything else that gets in there. And so it's very important to make sure you stay on top of your diet, eating the right foods in the right combination. That's one thing I learned. One of my sisters was diabetic. Well, I say was. She's managed her weight and health, and so she's at a point she's not taking any medication. But her doctor told her she had to modify what she ate together because your body processes different things. So, do you have any key points on that?
Well, I think when we think about diabetes, I think our hashtag is sugar ain't always sweet.
Okay.
But when it comes to diabetes, it's not just your sugary things, because your body takes like bread and potatoes and rice. And when your body breaks all those down, breaks it down to the chemicals that it is, it's glucose.
Okay.
It's some form of glucose. And all of those things, not just the Snickers that I love and the ice cream, it's not just those things that lead us to diabetes. It's watching those other heavy carbs too, because that ultimately turns into sugar. And we don't always think of that, you know.
Okay. What about, in the South, we love our soul food, and we don't always have the best methods of cooking certain things. So, will people be able to ask the chef on that comes that night, what are some ways I can cook my favorite dishes, but in a better way?
Yes, and he will be doing a healthy chicken stir fry, and so that's something that's hopefully easy, everyone can do, and it's a healthy option as well. So those who are there will be able to ask him anything that's on their mind. So if they have a dish and they want to be able to make it a different way, then that's something that hopefully he can help us out with.
And another thing that we don't take into account at times, because we live in such a fast-paced society, is when we're eating out. We think that, okay, I'm going to get this salad from this salad bar, but then we add all these toppings and dressings, and it's like you've kind of diminished what the salad, the purpose of the salad, the leafy greens. You add all this stuff in, so we need to be a little more mindful when we're eating out as well. And even those things that are labeled as low fat, low calorie, low this, low, learn how to read labels.
Yes.
Read labels, because there are some hidden ingredients and hidden sugars in some things. If you don't understand what the label means, look at the ingredients list. I mean, I've been trying to learn a lot of things over the past several years, and hopefully more people are paying attention to what they're ingesting.
In our event, we will have someone from the diabetes education department, and they'll be giving some education about the importance of reading labels and how to determine what to eat in comparison to each other as far as carbs and sugars and things like that go. They're really resourceful, so come out and get that information.
All right, so again, tell us the date, time, and location.
Saturday, November the 9th at 5 p.m. at our St. Bernard's Auditorium, which is located at 505 East Washington.
All right, so go ahead and get all gussied up, as the other people will say, and come on out, have a good time. Will there be a red carpet, a camera,
there'll be a camera and a place to take photos. Yes.
All right, so look, you want to be looking your best.
Yes, that's right.
You go out, and again, it's for a great cause. You get some information, you get to have a nice meal, you get to interact with your fellow community members and the professionals from St. Bernard's, and you get to also dance.
Yes.
Shout out to DJ Nightmare. It's going to be on the ones and twos out there. And so we have some questions or comments. Ms. Bethany Hill says, good morning. Good morning to Patrick Hilson. And Mr. Buddy Red says, I heard that bread is not good if you have it. Is that true? If you have diabetes, bread
is one of those things that breaks down into sugar. So when it comes to our diet, it's more important to think realistically, not necessarily removing things completely, but everything in moderation. So bread does, like Mr. Buddy said, it does break down into sugar, and that does increase your blood sugar level, which is the whole thing behind being diabetic.
So consider a whole grain bread, and this is another thing that I've learned. Wheat bread it can be a, how can I say, not always the best choice, just plain wheat. You might have, again, look at those ingredients and what's in it. So look for more whole grain bread versus just the wheat bread, because you still don't know what's in that.
Right, and like I said, our diabetes educators do a really good job at bringing that whole topic home, because you may be able to have a piece of whole wheat toast with breakfast, but is whole wheat toast really good for lunch too? Probably not if you're pre-diabetic or already diabetic. So modifying those things in your diet, maybe not every single time you eat having a whole piece of whole wheat toast, but maybe some veggies instead.
Look, I know some people feel some type of way about mushrooms, but mushrooms are a great, for me, alternative to having like a bread substance. You can buy those big portobello mushrooms and put them on a little press or a grill, and they can serve as your bread or lettuce wraps, even though there's so many news stories about things being recalled, Lord.
I know.
So
it's always scary. But the good thing is, once you start to change your eating habits, you get used to it. You know, a lot of people are like, nah, I can't do that. My mama's been cooking with pork. She makes her beans with pork. She always has. Well, once you get used to eating it, you don't even really miss it. But you know, you got to try it first.
Yes, and even like certain vegetables. I know this is not a cooking nutrition type show, but sweet potatoes. You know, in the South, we're traditionally for Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's like sugar, butter, cinnamon, nutmeg, you know, marshmallows, pecans, wherever you're from. But try roasting them with, not to say seasoning salt, but low sodium or no sodium seasoning. And I still like to add nutmeg to mine to give them a little holiday taste. So there are alternatives. You just have to be creative and willing to try. So, but for more information, don't forget to go out to this event this Saturday, November 9th. And can you tell them again where to find the ticket, the link to the tickets?
If they'll go on our St. Bernard's Healthcare event page, and there is a link there to buy tickets.
All right, so go get your tickets, grab a couple friends, go out, dress up, have a great time, get a good meal, and then get your dance on so you can work off that meal. All right, so I can't thank you, LEAAP, enough, you know, for the work that you do in the community. And so as we go, you know, count down, we have about 2.5 minutes. So tell people more about LEAAP and what you do, what your mission and goal is in this community.
So LEAP stands for Leading and Emerging African American Professionals. It's our very first affinity group at St. Bernard's, which is just a group of individuals who have a similar interest calls. So we are the first group, African American, so we are the first of more to come.
Okay.
So we have had 3 events this year. Our first one was an event on heart health, our second on mental health, and then this is our last event this year. So we have been formed about a year now, so we've had great success so far, so we cannot wait for our last event of the year and then to start planning for next year.
All right, and then you are also, your group is also active at other community events. So if someone else is hosting an event, you're there with the health screenings and information tables. So please, if you see these individuals, don't be afraid to go talk to them or invite them to your event. And especially those events that are catered to the minority community. We face health issues that are different than some other ethnicities. So yeah, we need to be on the ball. Get on the ball and learn as much as we can so that we can help the future generations be healthier, hopefully, than we are. You know, we can reduce these numbers and statistics. Will they ever go away completely? Probably not, but I would love to see the numbers reduced across the board. So I want to say good morning to Kelly Lewis Taylor, Mr. David Nunez, and my auntie, Ms. Frida Snipes from California, Warren. Thank you for checking in. All right, so any final thoughts or comments as we get ready to wrap up?
We can't wait to see y'all on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a great event.
I can't wait to see everybody all dressed up in their, after 5.
Yes. So
ladies, get your diamonds and glitter and whatever else, This is your time to go all out.
Yeah.
Men, get your tuxes and bow ties tied. Now, for men, is the bow tie considered
tie optional, black tie optional.
Okay, the jacket.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it would look nice.
All right.
Bring it on.
All right, well, we thank you so much for being here and look forward to this event this weekend. Hope everyone gets their tickets and go on and have a great time. And thank you, Lee. Again, today is a short show, so enjoy the mixes after the announcements. Have a great day, everybody.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.